Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the school committee meeting of Monday, September 26th from the David Cable Murphy Studios here in Rockland. First on tonight's agenda is our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next on tonight's agenda is acceptance of the meeting minutes of September 12th, 2022. We'll be entertaining a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor? Thank you very much. That's a vote. Seeing nothing under audience, we'll move on to item 4, which is reports. Under item A, we have financial reports for June for approval. We have 3 reports: the School Department of Rockland High School Student Activities, we have the Rockland Middle School Student Activities, and the cafeteria. Will be entertaining 3 motions.
3 motions to approve.
3 seconds.
All those in favor? Thank you. That is a vote. Next under reports, item B is building rentals, and I commented to Ms. Davidson here just before the meeting that this is about as busy as I've seen them in quite a long time, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, I don't think since COVID we've had a sheet this busy, so it's good to see the buildings being used, and all awesome stuff, so for your information. Under old business, item A, we have a Phelps Elementary School update. Ms. Davidson, do you have anything for us?
Yes, so we met last Tuesday. It is always recorded by WRPS. If you are interested, you can tune in. Some progress that has been made with the building is the gym floor is complete, the carpeting is complete, and kitchen equipment is being installed currently. And then in the next couple months, or probably it already has started by now, is the playground equipment is going to be installed. Some panels on the exterior have already been in progress. Landscaping and the stage floors. So it's moving right along. They were already talking about the final cleaning. So that means we can move in soon.
Final cleaning, that's awesome. The gym floor, that's being done is pretty great. That's a big question I keep getting. For those who don't know, it's a natural hardwood floor. It's beautiful, beautiful. It's going to be a beautiful gym. Dr. Khan, do you have anything? Or,
I
Ms.
do
Handbook?
not.
Anything
It's
on
very
the
exciting.
school building? Great. So looking forward to December and January. We can get the community in there to see how awesome it looks. Next up, under old business, we have a Rogers Middle School Handbook for approval. This is the second reading. Dr. Cron, is there anything that you would like to highlight about this, and what would your recommendation be upon it?
I recommend the committee adopt it, approve it.
Excellent. Any questions, concerns about the handbook? Okay, so we'll be entertaining a motion for approval.
Motion for to approve.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor? Thanks very much. Next up, item C, we have our elementary schools handbook for approval. This also is a second reading. Dr. Cron, anything on this, and what would your recommendation be?
I recommend approval.
Okay, great, thank you. Anything from my committee colleagues? We'll entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
And a
Second.
All those, and we have a second. All those in favor? Thanks very much. Next up, we have new business, item 6. Item A under item 6 is proposal for a student trip to Ireland, London, and France. And we have Mrs. Walsh here with us. And we also have our representative from EF Tours. Welcome.
I want to introduce our representative. This is Alexis Siri, a 2012 graduate of Rockland High, who is now working for EF Tours, which is really exciting for us. So she wanted to come and help me out with this meeting and answer any questions you might have after I kind of go over the basic pitch, if that works. We're back to travel after our spring of Belize and Greece that went really well. And we have an almost full Italy trip for April this year. We already have started planning for the Australia trip that was already approved but postponed due to COVID. And then this would be the next one for April of 2025. It's actually 4 countries, depending on how you clarify the UK, because we're going to go to Wales as well. So Ireland, Wales, England, and France. So it's definitely highlights for a lot of the students who have pictured what their first Europe trip would be, a lot of things they've wanted to see. It's a fast-moving trip to keep us busy and see a lot within the 10 days of the April vacation week. It's going to be pretty similar to our pre-COVID trips, I think, in size, where we're getting back up to a full bus, which is wonderful. And we feel very confident of how EF has handled everything the last few years. I also went on an adults version of an EF tour this summer. COVID did come into the process, and EF handled it just like they had promised they would for our group. So I saw firsthand that if anything does happen with COVID, we were very happy with how it was handled.
Excellent.
If you have any questions for me?
Questions,
or for
anyone?
Alexa?
Just a quick question for me, just where, based upon the date where we are now, you mentioned COVID, where are the destination countries, sort of where they are with pandemic response, and where are they, similar to where we are here, or is there sort of different restrictions in place there at this time?
Yeah, most of the restrictions in Europe are going away, I would say, from my experience in the last 6 months. I've been to Ireland, I went in May, and other than testing on the way home for the United States, which ended soon after that, they had no restrictions. There's still some countries, not these ones, asking for vaccine proof, but that's an EF requirement right now too, which I let all the parents and families know about. So if they're not comfortable with that, then this isn't an option for them at this time. If EF changes that, then I would open that up to parents as well. But right now, vaccines are required.
Okay, great. And you mentioned that the trip that you were on just had a exposure with COVID, and that EF reacted the way that they said they would. Would you
Yep.
talk a little bit about that, about what they say they will do and what they did?
Sure. It was me. So I'll just say it. I was going to try to say the traveler, and then it just seemed silly. I got COVID in Helsinki, Finland. Tested, was immediately quarantined. Helsinki's rules were 6 days. EF changed my flight, arranged transportation to the airport, arranged food for the entire week, the extended hotel stay, and I didn't pay a cent. So there were people to check in with me, make sure my group was fine to go home without me. Being adults, a lot easier, but I would have the other chaperones, or if it was a student who developed COVID, I would stay, or another chaperone would stay, and we'd work with the families through EF's program. Obviously, with adults, they didn't fly anyone over to be with me, but with a student, they would. But yeah, it was, from the perspective of having to be there, it couldn't have been smoother.
Great. How many kids do you think you might be looking to bring on this trip?
We always shoot for about 40, because that generally tends to be about a full bus with the addition of chaperones to fill the bus. We're pretty close to that with Italy this spring. We had 2 smaller trips to Belize and Greece, which made sense in the time we were in, and people unsure of travel, but that was great for its own reasons, and now we're looking forward to having a bigger trip. I also will be back in the spring. I don't usually tell you what the next trip would be, but we are going to tell the families what the option would be for this year's freshmen when they're seniors, because we've faced a lot of people being unsure of which trip they want to do, and they're afraid to sign up for one early in case another one is coming down the lane that they're excited about. So we would obviously come to you to talk about the trip formally, but we're saying that probably the 2026 trip would be the Galapagos, which I've traveled to and would be an amazing experience from the scientific perspective. For the students, it's a great active outdoor trip, sort of like Australia is, or Belize was, with a lot of water activities. It feels like you're on another planet, and it was one of the best places I've ever been, so I know the students would love it. And working with the science teachers that do the trips with me, there's one that's really based on the ecology of the islands, which would be great.
Any other questions?
I just had a question. So in the past, we've always had our own EF guide with us the whole way. Do we still have that even
Yes.
through COVID?
Yep. So that's been pre-COVID, after COVID. We have local guides at specific sites or in towns to do a walking tour that are experts on that city or that place. But then our guide will be with us all the time. We've had the same one for a few years now that we're really close with, and he'll be coming to Italy this spring, and he'll do this one. He does all the Euro trips with us. So we've built a relationship. He also works in the EF office when he's not on tour, so he knows all the protocols backwards and forwards. He's the reason why the trips are so successful, I would say.
Okay. And I have another one. So how many chaperones will you be looking for this trip?
We get 1 chaperone spot for every 6 students to sign up, so it's a 1-to-6 ratio.
Okay.
Occasionally, we'll stretch that out to like a 1-to-8 if we feel confident with the group and the number of spots we have and chaperones interested. We have lined up for the next couple of trips, both male and female interest, so we have that pretty much set for the next couple trips, depending on how many students sign up.
Why, do you want to go or something?
Well, there is a freshman Maroney. So maybe. No, but I was just curious, so everyone out there knew what the ratio was?
Yeah.
And then that was gonna be my next question. Did you have men and
Yep.
women?
Mr. Frederick Damon is coming to Italy, our Dean of Discipline and head basketball coach. He's traveled with us once before and had a great time, so he's looking forward to Italy. He's never been. And then we have a few younger staff members who are interested in travel, which has been the problem, I think, the last few years. People just couldn't do it with family commitments or sports commitments. It just happened to be we had more female employees interested, and I think that's changing a little bit, which will be great.
Great.
Very good. Anyone else?
So I know in
There's
this
a
year.
Hennessy sophomore as well. Just
Yes,
saying.
she would be a senior. It'd be a great graduation present. This year, obviously, you did February and April, and then there was the Australia plan for July. 3 trips in 1 calendar year, if you will. The next 3 are only 1 a year. Is there a
Yeah.
plan to add additional trips, or have you pulled away from the February breaks or the
Great
summer
question.
often?
Galapagos would probably be summer like Australia is going to be in 2024. We haven't decided, a lot of times the summer trip was decided based on the length of the trip. We wanted to be able to go for 14 or 15 days. And Galapagos, we could fit into a school vacation, but we are a little bit wary after our weather situation in February. And I think it's just something that would be an additional risk to take with Boston weather or weather in other parts of the country if we're going to Central or South America. So I'm not opposed to it, but with the lineup of trips we have coming, we wouldn't, just because of timing and the weather at that time of year. Galapagos in our summer is the perfect time to go for tourism, because it's a little cooler, similar to how Australia or Africa would be at that time of year.
That's it. I'm good.
Anyone else?
Some of the do you have any fundraisers planned, or, because the price of it is $4,080?
Yep, so when it stretches out, that's why we try to plan them so early. We're back to the schedule of 2.5 to 3 years. It's about 30 months, we figured out. It's less than $150 a month, which is much more affordable for a lot of families. Some students try to pay out of their part-time job money or fundraising. We have 2 that were approved in the spring that are happening right now, and then we'll plan usually 2 or 3 each season of the school year. But they're for all the travel club trips at once. So we don't do them by individual tours. It's anyone going on any of the trips right now can do the fundraisers. So people get to choose if they want to participate or not. Some families don't like to fundraise, and that's totally fine. I've always been a big believer in individual fundraising versus group fundraising for the most part, because some people work really hard at it and make most of their trip in fundraising, and I think they should get to keep that.
Great, that was all.
Dr. Brown?
I just want to say thank you for your enthusiasm, for what you bring to Rockland High School, and it's a very important aspect of what we do, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for being so supportive all these years. It's been one of the highlights of my teaching career. Sad, she was 1 year out. She missed it by a year.
That was actually my next question, so I was gonna ask, I know you said you were a 2012 grad?
Yes.
So you weren't able to travel
I
with the
got
group
in
then?
here, I got out of here right before Ms. Walsh started the travel program, but now I've come back on the other end, and I've started working for EF, also thanks to her connections. So I'm just very grateful thank you all for having me here today. I'm grateful to be back at the high school that I went to, and it's so wonderful to see what a wonderful travel program has been established here in the community.
We appreciate EF having a representative here. We appreciate it even more that it's a Rockland grad.
I mean, right up
something-
the street, I had to do what I
Yeah,
could, you know?
absolutely. Well, we asked that of this committee asked that of Ms. Walsh and of EF years ago when we did this, and it's just a good opportunity for us to sort of touch base with a representative from EF. And it's great to have you here, and thank you. And this sounds like an awesome trip. It sounds like we have a unanimous school committee that wants to go too. No, but great, looking forward to it. Thank you, Ms. Walsh, for
Thank you very much.
for continuing to, support world travel and education for our kids. So we'll be entertaining a motion to approve the trip to Ireland, London, and France.
Motion to approve?
Second?
All those in favor? Let's vote. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you,
Thank
you
you.
too. Next up, under new business, item B, we have homeschooling for applications for approval. I know we have Dr. Maniglia here with us tonight. Dr. Maniglia,
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. So this year, we have 31 families that have their students being homeschooled. The breakdown is 1 kindergartner, 5 first graders, 4 second graders, 1 third grade, and 1 fourth grader. We have 5 fifth graders. We have 4 seventh graders, 5 eighth graders, 3 10th graders, 1 11th grader, and 1 12th grader. Okay? So all of the homeschool students are being instructed in all content areas, which is English language arts, math, science, history, technology. The materials that are used are textbooks, and like I say, materials that all align with the Massachusetts frameworks. Some of the students, in addition to curriculum, are participating in virtual classes. Some of the classes that they are participating in is Time for Learning, Mystery Science, Smithsonian Learning Lab, the Seton Home Study, Heart of Decoded Curriculum, and a Becca curriculum. Now, for enrichment, our students are taking gymnastics, they're participating in community sports, hockey, baseball, soccer. They are also, some of them are signed up at the YMCA or gyms, and many of them are involved in taking musical instruments. The parents or guardians put together portfolios for each student that they are homeschooling, and in the portfolio are samples of their work, informal and formalized assessments, and progress reports on how the student is doing throughout the year. And the portfolios have been really comprehensive and really show just how effective that student is making progress. They've been really good. So compared with last year we had 49 students, okay? And 18 of the students, to bring us down to the 31, we have 3 students that moved to other districts. We have 9 students that came back to our district, 2 at elementary, 5 at the middle school, and 2 at our high school. Then we had 4 students that are attending private schools, St. Bridges, 2 of them, Calvary, we have 1 student, and 1 is at Greenfield. And then we had 1 of our students that got accepted to the South Shore Vocational School, and 1 student from last year actually graduated. So that pretty much sums up students, for this year, but I'd be very happy to answer any questions that you might have for me.
You said this year was 31, last year was 49, is that
Yes.
right? Where were we about pre-pandemic levels? Where do we sort of fall
I
with
think
that?
we have when I'm thinking back, I'd say 45 to 47
So-
students that were homeschooled.
So would you say that we are, as far as the trends go, we are somewhat low as in recent years' histories?
A little lower, but it's because some of our kids moved, some of them decided to go to, private schools, and I think maybe just some of our students wanted to come back to the district, because we have 9 students that did come back.
I'm glad they did.
So, yeah.
I'm glad they
I
did.
am too.
Questions, concerns from my colleagues? Ms. Maroney?
I don't actually have a question. I just wanted to comment out to the families that are taking care of these kids. I did notice that a lot of the things that we get submitted were so detail-oriented and comprehensive, with real educational plans. The parents were really,
Well, they have to do 900 hours, but they had some pretty comprehensive
Right.
planning that they did for their kids.
And they had it really broken down. A couple of them included letters on how they got to be homeschooling and how their homeschooling journey has been. And I thought that was interesting to sit here and get to hear their perspective on it.
Right. And out of all of those students, the 31 students, there are 8 families, and out of the 31 students, 22 of them are from our 8 families. A couple of them have like 4 kids, 3 kids. So, it seems like a trend that they've had, but every single portfolio, like you say, came in really detailed.
Right. So thank you for that, because it makes it sort of easier on our end to see what's going on and just sort of check in.
Right.
To make sure the kids are getting what they need. So that's all I have.
Anyone else?
My only question is, on one of the pages provided, it says the students' names and then where they transferred to or a new school. Some of them said moved to Abington, and the other one was just moved. Do you know?
2 of the 3 students that moved
Yeah.
to Abington. I'm not sure. I could have probably maybe gone on Aspen, but
yeah,
I'm not sure
okay.
where that 3rd student did move.
I'm just curious, you see
Yeah.
horror stories in the news of
Oh.
children missing and
I know.
whatnot, so I was just curious if you
Yeah.
ever follow up with.
These seem pretty legit
a
because
moved.
we had to send records
Okay.
and stuff to the receiving districts. So hopefully it was on a good note.
Any other questions for Dr. Maniglia? Okay, so that
Okay.
being said, we'll be looking to approve 31
Thank
homeschooling
you.
applications. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? That is a vote. Thank you very much, Dr. Maniglia. Next up, we have under item C for new business, ratification of our paraprofessionals contract. Dr. Cron?
Yeah, the paraprofessionals voted 31-0 evidently to ratify. So we're in great shape, and I recommend to the committee that you also ratify the paraprofessional contract.
Excellent, thank you very much. Before we take a vote, just want to thank all of our talented and wonderful paraprofessionals that we have in our district. They really make the whole machine work, and got a lot of great people, moms and dads and Rockland people who are here helping out within the hallways of our schools, and couldn't do it without them. We very much appreciate our paraprofessionals. So with that, we'll be looking for a motion for ratification for our paraprofessionals contract.
Motion to approve?
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? It's a vote. Thank you. Next up, we have fundraisers for approval. And we've got quite a few here. So the daycare pack will be selling Kringle candles from Meadow Farms through 10/24 through 11/14 of '22. The online, why don't we approve that one first for the daycare? Kringle candles, we'll entertain a motion to approve the pack for the Kringle candles sale.
Motion to approve?
All those, we need a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you, that's a vote. The Eston pack is going to be running an online school store through the entire school year. We'll be looking to get a motion of approval for that.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. The Jefferson School Pack is going to sell Hilliard's candy bars throughout the entire school year. I hear Ms. Hackett over there saying, you know where you can find her. All right, great. We're looking for a motion to approve
Motion to approve?
and a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Thanks very much. Memorial Park Pack has 4 fundraisers, book fair and ice cream social, November 7th, 9th, and 10th. A holiday shop, December 12th. An online school store, October 14th. And turkey feathers, November 7th through 18th of '23. We'll look for 4 motions.
4 motions to approve?
We have 4 motions.
4 seconds.
4 seconds. All those in favor? Thanks very much. Rockland High School has 6 fundraisers for approval. The girls' soccer team will be selling cookie dough in September. The Music Boosters will be having a bottle and can drive in October, on October 15th. Bulldog Buddies will be having a baked sale November 8th. National Honor Society will be having a Savers clothing drive December 3rd. Student Government Council will be having a Mr. Rockland pageant October 6th. And the class of '23 will be having a Chipotle night on October 18th. We'll be entertaining 6 motions.
6 motions to approve?
We have 6 motions
6 seconds.
and 6 seconds. All those in favor? Thanks very much. Next up, under item 7, we have personnel information. Dr. Cron, is there anything that you would like to highlight?
Yeah, I'd just like to point out that even though we are having trouble finding, when we've posted for English language learner teachers and so on, we've had trouble finding them. We've had difficulty at times finding paraprofessionals. But for the most part, we are fully staffed here in Rockland. I cannot say the same for my colleagues around the state, and I know they're struggling to find people. And so again, I just look at it as, you know, it's a great place to work, it's a great place to be, and I'm very grateful that we're fully staffed. So I guess that would be my only comment.
Excellent. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. Next up, back to you, Dr. Cron, under item 8 for our superintendent's report.
Yeah, I've talked a lot about data this year, and Jane has talked a lot about data. It's very important that our data is accurate so we can collect as much funding as possible. It's very important that our data is accurate so that we can use it. But we are noticing trends that have started we've been talking about over the years, but it's really coming home this year. Our enrollment data projection is we're thinking we're probably going to be stable at around 2,200, just south of 2,200 kids this year, and that's stable. But our demographic changes, they continue to shift. So we're looking at an increase in low-income students of about 20% from last year to this year. And we're looking at an increase in English language learners of about 20% also. So our district is changing. This has very real ramifications for our classroom teachers and the students, with whom they're working, groupings. We're talking about, do we need a newcomer program in the elementary for our English language learner students? What's the best way to handle this? When you start to reach a critical mass of English language learners, say with non-English language learners, then your classroom structure just completely changes. So it's a challenge for our teachers, and it's a challenge for our district, but it's something to take note of. I just wanted to point that out, so that's part of my report. I'd also like to thank Freya Leahy. She brought in a new program called Solace, which is a mental health care referral system, and it allows us to connect our students with in-person mental health care very quickly. So it's network, and it helps us get them help quickly, and it's something that we'll be talking about more in the coming weeks, but I just wanted to highlight that tonight and thank Freya Leahy for that, and that's all I have tonight.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cron. Any questions or concerns for Dr. Cron?
I'll just make a comment. That's incredible, the program that Ms. Leahy's put on.
Are you familiar?
No, but I can tell you I'm familiar with families that are unable to access mental health providers and that are waiting months and months to get help.
Yeah.
So anything that we can do as a system to support families is amazing.
Yeah.
So please give her my personal kudos.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, next up, or last but not least, I suppose, item 9 is our public service announcements. And we're blessed to have Ava with us tonight, our student representative. Ava, do you have any questions, concerns about the meeting, or do you have anything that you'd like to share with us on behalf of your peers in the student body?
Just that we have the Mr. Rockland pageant coming up on October 6th, like you said, and then Project Pumpkin October 22nd coming up too.
2 fun things.
Yep.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Mrs. Hennessy.
I do not have anything tonight.
Okay.
Surprised.
Mrs. Maroney.
I saw all the things Jill had written down, so I'm not stealing her
You
thunder.
had them all last week, so I shushed. All right. So this past weekend was the St. Jude Walk. I believe middle school and high school, they had 4 busloads go into Boston and walk and raise funds. So I thought that was pretty impressive. I wanted to thank all of those students and the faculty that went in with them. I've heard they had a great time, so thanks for that.
Gavin was on that trip, and he also reports he had a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, that was wonderful.
Erin
Excellent.
was too, so.
Great. Mrs. Davidson.
I would just like to say that this Saturday, October 1st, is the 2nd annual Fall Fest in Rockland. It blocks off downtown, and it's from 1 to 5. There's touch-a-trucks, some petting zoos, a beer garden, many activities for all ages of Rockland, and I know a lot of other people come in, so it's usually a busy day, and it looks like it's not going to rain, so see you there.
Excellent, sounds good. Dr. Morrow Small.
I think I just want to put a big thank you out to all the teachers that are supporting our students as they make transitions. So I can't speak, I think some of my colleagues here can speak about the transition to high school, but I've seen the transition to middle school and what a leap it is. And the teachers are doing an awesome job supporting our students as they do that. And just a shout out to them, and a shout out to our parents who are also keeping on top of them as they make that transition. It's a little hairy at times, but everybody keep up the good work.
Thank you. I also have nothing tonight. I know, I'm speechless. I guess we're well into the fall school year. Seems like everything's really going great, both in the classrooms and on the sports field, so just all I can say is really keep it up. With that, that's all I got. We'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Thanks very much. Have a great night.